This video will explain various techniques your group can use against the system. There are many issues out there in various conspiracy videos, but all of them just tell us the problems with government and society, not how to fix them. The rest of this video will be about using and developing creative solutions to address those very problems. The standard way of protesting is getting a bunch of like-minded people, making signs, and going to the place of business or government office and make as much commotion and noise as possible. This method is standard, but it doesn't seem to be very effective. More often than not, the government just ignores such actions. The thing people have to remember is to go after your target's weakness. The rule of action is to hit what is weak with what is strong, according to the military formula for attack outlined by Sun Tzu in The Art of War. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're going to protest a business. Well, first you must sit down and plan. Ask yourself, what is the weakness of my target and how do I attack that effectively to break it? The answers are sometimes amazingly obvious, but we never consider them. A restaurant's weakness would be mice and rats. A farm's weakness would be the environment or the crops themselves. Now, let's take that same method and apply it to the government. What is their biggest weakness? Is it bullhorns? Amazingly, the government just tells everyone what that weakness is right out in the open as if they want it to be targeted that way. Right now, it's the economy. Yes, the economy is the key to the whole thing. The government loans money to the banks to stimulate business in order to collect taxes and interest from that economic activity and growth. Their history tells everyone about the unstable and fragile relationship between the two. If one falls, the other collapses to its knees. The banks and government are connected like Siamese twins. Strangely, the banks are terrified of something they call bank runs. Yes, if an entity wanted to pressure the government, they could hit its weakest partner with a bank run. It's nonviolent and a pretty easy protest once you are organized. Yes, all you'd be doing is standing in line for hours, but it would cause maximum damage on the system. This action is bad publicity and destabilizes the banks. It frightens investors and bondholders off. It could affect their precious stock values. It could snowball into total upheaval. This would be much more effective than standard protesting with the shouting and tiring yourself out. You could really leverage the government effectively this way. It's like having a gun to their heads. You want to stop the war? Well, now anything is possible when you hit the right spot, the financial spot. Using this strategy, the police cannot touch you or you'd sue them. You're doing legal business at the bank, whether it is to take out all your money or open an account with a tiny amount. Remember, do not bring signs, bullhorns, or do chanting. Wear business or casual attire. But the news gets better. The protest could be a whole lot easier than that. What if I told you that you could cause the banks terrible harm by helping out your neighbor? Does that sound intriguing? Let me explain other protest that is equally damaging and has something in it for you and everyone who participates. Right now, the banks are having a terrible time with their real estate business. It seems as though your average person cannot pay millions in mortgage payments and interest. If people got together and protected each other from bank evictions and foreclosures, they could stay in their homes mortgage-free. Imagine what would happen if people in your neighborhood all got together to do a bank run against a foreclosure bank if one of their members got threatened with an eviction. It would certainly not be worth the bank's effort to foreclose and evict on any of your members who have the power to destroy the banks. And once the bank cannot evict through police enforcement, there is no sense in paying your mortgage anymore. The bank cannot evict without destroying themselves. But here's an easier idea. What if I told you that you could cause even further harm to the bank by just sitting at home while you watch TV? What if people struck the banks with deliberate home devaluations when threatened with evictions? Let me explain how this works. The only reason properties are worth money to the banks is because home values are supposed to go up. All people have to do to kick out the banks from their neighborhoods is put up for sale signs advertising their homes for much less than it's worth. If enough people drive down the all values in the neighborhood, the banks cannot finance new housing or resell any of the existing housing they own. Their business of selling earth for money would be ruined. Quite frankly, it should be ruined because they cannot keep destroying their food-producing farmlands to make room for houses. Food is always going to be more important than housing. If you take away the power to make money or evict, there is no sense in building anymore. This will also solve unemployment, since it's not likely people are going to be making more money by government creating bogus jobs. Instead, they can just lower their cost of living. All this could be done with simple signs and listings. Easy. Since the banks are also financing the wars through economic growth, development, and taxation, it's possible to stop the wars too, all from the couch at your home. What could be easier than that? The protest signs with the correct wording and placement are doing all the work for your group. This would be the easiest protest ever. You could even go to work or a movie while the sign is doing all the damage. On a side note, you don't have to actually sell your house, just advertise it for cheap. Why would you ever devalue your own house? Well, your house is being devalued anyway with the economic crisis and the collapse of the phony home appraisals. This way, you don't have to pay your overpriced mortgage anymore and can live for free, like the native peoples used to. The banks never had the right to take away that land and sell it for money and interest in the first place. Now the banks are just going to have to find another way to do business apart from the destructive real estate practices. The government will also have to eliminate their spending on their fake wars and military weapons production. What choice would they have? The people know where the weak area is to strike now. The government must listen to people's demands now. No more of this, wait 4 years and vote for another government puppet to fix your problems. They can have their way now. You can end unemployment, you can end the war, you can stop the environmental destruction. Force the government to its knees. Why not try this idea? Try an idea better than this if you have one. Think of something. I'm hoping this idea will at least inspire people to think before it's too late. The financial system props up everything that is destroying the planet, especially the propaganda in the media that controls thinking. By hitting the financial system, we can also leverage the media. They are glorifying lumberjacks on TV as heroes, for crying out loud. They've gone too far. Modern warfare has changed with the times. Force is not always the best way to attack an enemy. Sometimes to do less is more effective if done right. It might not be a good idea to hit someone who has a loaded gun with a stick. In these times, you might want to hit them with a piece of paper with the right words and ideas written on them. Please go to antiforeclosurearmy.com for more detailed information. Please spread this idea to others.